Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. As you can tell from today's vibe, this is going to be a very stripped back video. I didn't bother with makeup, I haven't bothered getting ready today. I'm literally just sat in my bed. Like, I woke up about half an hour ago and I just, for whatever reason, feel the need to film this video today. I've seen George do this recently and I forget how much these types of videos help me personally. I think just hearing somebody like talk so openly and honestly about how they're feeling or their thoughts on like how other people are feeling, and kind of giving like tips and tricks on how to not feel a certain way, they just really help me. Megan Short is another one that did a video like this, and just all about like mindfulness and positivity and stuff, and change your kind of mindset and your outlook on things, and again that really helps. So I wanted to film my own. I'm really hoping this video helps at least one of you. I did ask for some questions on my Instagram, so these are probably going to be quite like targeted questions. I've honestly not had more of a response to a story, which I said in my recent vlog, but it kind of makes me sad that like this is the topic that people want to know the most about, like anxiety and mental health and stuff like that. But it means I need to film this video, which I'm more than happy to do. So I think I'm just going to get straight into the questions. If this isn't really your vibe of video, like I say, it is super stripped back. I've literally just grabbed myself a coffee. I am just going to sit here and kind of chat to you guys for however long, but yeah, I just like to stick these videos on when I'm cooking dinner or something like that, so I hope you enjoy. Literally the first question that was asked is, any tips for struggling at uni, missing home? Love you too. I've never been to uni personally, so I feel like when you first go you probably experience missing home, like either way, whether the world is back to normal or not. Like, I'm sure it's a thing that everybody goes through. Like I did touch on it in my mukbang, I personally have, or still do, struggle with homesickness, so I know exactly what it feels like to miss home and like miss your family and stuff. But I think, especially at the moment, missing home I think is such a big thing at uni, because from the information that I've heard, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling very isolated because of obviously what's going on. Like, you can't really do a lot and it's not like a normal uni experience. There's a guy that I follow and I can't remember his name for the life of me. I'm going to leave his out on screen, but he's just such a big advocate for like mental health, and especially in students and stuff. He's so well spoken, like I'm just in awe of everything he does. I think he's amazing. But he has stressed the fact that if you are really struggling at uni and you really miss home and it's really impacting your mental health, then go home. The guidelines do actually state that if it's anything that's of harm to you, so if you're having to travel somewhere or visit somewhere else because you feel at risk or you feel at harm, then you can. So still abiding by the guidelines, you can go home if you really feel like you need to and you really are struggling. So just don't struggle on your own. If it is really that bad, then please just go home and see the people you want to see and make yourself feel better. But if you aren't struggling that bad and you're just kind of having a bit of an off day and you feel a bit like down because you're just missing home like you normally would, then I would say just keep busy, like keep yourself distracted, do as much as you can, plan things in the day, whether it's even like clean your room, make your bed first thing in the morning, like do so many little jobs around the house or around your flat or whatever. Just keep your mind occupied. Like, even then when it comes to evening time and everything kind of slows down a bit and you feel your brain maybe going and you feel your mind kind of starting to whir a bit and think about like missing home and stuff, then make a hot chocolate, put your favourite film on, put a series on that will distract you. Just do anything you can to kind of keep your mindset just occupied and busy, and time flies by. Also, whenever I'm personally missing something, if for example like I go away somewhere or Brad's gone away somewhere or my family had gone away somewhere, I always see that every single day is like a step closer to that thing being over. So for example, with like lockdown, as much as every day seems a bit long, when I'm at the end of it I'm like, okay, well that's a day done. Like, we are now just one step closer to this whole thing being over, and you have to go through each day for that to be a thing. So yeah, try and look at it as a positive thing as well, that every day you get done, you're one step closer to being back with your family. Making new friends with anxiety. Now, I think this is a really interesting one, because for me personally it's like the most positive thing I can do, because I choose to not initially just like say, hi, I'm Emily and I have anxiety. Like, I don't introduce myself with that. I think it's a personal option. Like, I don't think anybody should feel like they have to, but at the same time, if you feel like you want to, then go ahead. But I just think that making new friends, it pushes you out of your comfort zone, and because I go into a new friendship not saying that I've got anxiety or not telling that person, I think subconsciously it then makes you kind of believe that you don't have it and you can do all these things that other people do that don't experience anxiety. Sometimes for me it just means that I don't really want to say like, oh, I can't do that because I feel anxious, so I end up doing it anyway. And then once you've done it, you realise you can do it and your anxiety realises you can do it and nothing bad happened. So it's kind of a win-win for me. Like, I just don't really introduce myself with it, like I say, and then it definitely does make me push myself out of my comfort zone more and I get more done, let's say. But if you do genuinely really struggle with it, then 100% just be open with people. Like, if someone's truly going to be your friend for life, then they will understand it from the off. Like, no one should ever make you feel bad about it. They shouldn't make you feel weird. They shouldn't make you feel like you're in the wrong for anything. Like, yeah, you will know from the off if someone reacts badly to you opening up to them and saying that you've got anxiety or a mental health issue like that, then they are not for you. How are you doing? I hope you're well, and if you suffer from panic attacks, how do you cope? I am good, thank you for asking. I used to a lot more than I do now. I had one recently which was very like random. I think I actually touched on it again in like a drive with me mukbang that I did. But yeah, from before that I haven't had one for literally years. The way I cope personally is I feel like a lot of this is going to be like, personally this is what I do, but obviously I can only really speak from my own experience, so please take everything maybe with a pinch of salt. I'm trying to not delve into like the science side of it and the medical side of it because I'm not a medical professional. This is just conversations I've had with other people and, like I say, my own experiences with mental health. But like I say, personally the way I like to deal with things is to talk them through. I know a lot of people like to kind of compartmentalize things, put things in a box and then try and move on from it, but I just physically cannot do that. I don't know why. I think sometimes I can, but most of the time I just need to talk things through and rationalize it in my own head. But to do that I need to kind of speak it out loud to someone and get somebody else's opinion on something. And most of the time when I'm having a panic attack, it's because I am personally, or my head is being so irrational in that state. Like, it's making me freak out about something that might not even be a thing, or making me think that something's going to happen that doesn't even end up happening. So it's all irrational. Like, when you get into a state of panic, it's because you've just gone past the point of being able to calm yourself down and really like rationally think about what is actually going on in the situation and kind of live in the present. But when I then speak everything out loud and I say my thoughts out loud, I kind of hear myself and I hear how crazy I sound. And I know that might be a little bit of tough love, but honestly, like, tough love is one of the biggest things that's worked for me. I think I've had people in the past kind of make me realise realistically what is happening in a situation. Like, I've been so irrational about things. I've had really silly thoughts about certain situations that I just shouldn't even be worrying about, and I have had people say to me like, you need to stop this, like you can't go on like this, blah blah blah, and just being quite, I suppose some people would see it as like being quite harsh, but for me that's what works. Like, I think when people enableize your thoughts and say like, oh don't worry, like you're totally within your right to feel like that, which I think to an it's so hard to talk about this, I think to an extent that's fine, but I think when it's not useful when someone is just constantly saying to you, it's fine not to be okay, just stay that way, don't worry about it type thing. It's fine to think those things, you're right, like everything you're thinking is the truth. I just think that can sometimes be more damaging, because then it tells your brain that you're thinking the right thing and you're probably not. If you are suffering from a panic attack, like I say, you're probably panicking about something that is either in the past or is probably not even going to happen in the future, but you think it will be, and you're not living in the present. And I think when people kind of bring you back down to earth a bit and make you think about the present situation and make you think about every aspect of what you're worrying about, most of the time you come to a conclusion that you probably don't need to worry about it, it's probably not the end of the world, and it's probably not going to harm you. So for me personally, tough love really has worked. Like, it's really helped to just kind of snap me out of something and make me rationally think about things again. But for someone to be able to react like that, I obviously need to kind of voice my thoughts and say them out loud and talk through things with people. And I am at the point now where when I talk through things with people, I hear myself say what I'm saying, and I can kind of give myself that tough love and think, you need to stop this, like this is just crazy, you sound like a mad woman, don't worry about it. That is how I try and look at things now. But I understand that I've been on this journey for a few years now. It is definitely a journey to say the least, and you will get there. But to fully answer the question, I also like to meditate, and there is an app that I always rave about. It's called Headspace. I'm going to leave a link down below actually, so you can meditate every single morning. It's all about like mindfulness and kind of shifting your mindset to not even think positive, but just to regain control of like all of your thoughts. It's all about kind of watching your thoughts come and go rather than latching onto one and just freaking out about a thought. It's about just letting things pass you by in your life, especially things that you shouldn't be worrying about. But they have a kind of like, I think it's called like a panic section on there, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a section that has 2 to 3 minute meditation tracks, and it's basically to calm you down in that exact situation that you're experiencing. So I stick my headphones in, I listen to this guy talk to me and tell me exactly what to do, which is all about like getting your breathing under control to start with, and then you can focus on your thoughts and getting them back under control. And they are great, they work every single time. You just really have to focus on it. I think it's one of those things as well you've really got to kind of believe in and want to do. So yeah, Headspace is a great thing. Deep breaths, it's so simple. My mum has always just gone, take some deep breaths, and I'm like, that's not gonna work, but it does, it really does. Taking deep breaths just helps you kind of gain control of everything again, and it's a good place to start. I'm just going to quickly touch on this one because someone said tips for mindfulness. My doctor recommended mindfulness. I don't really know what it is. So like I say, Headspace is pretty much all about mindfulness. Like mindfulness is more, my take on it is that it's regaining control of your brain and your thoughts, and like I say, being able to have negative thoughts or have stressful thoughts in your day and let them pass you by, rather than letting them gain control of your entire day and your mood and everything. So Headspace probably explains it a lot better than I do, but I would, for you personally, download that app, do a couple of courses, like listen to what this guy has to say, and hopefully that will explain it more. Mindfulness is definitely something that worked for me personally. How did you know you had anxiety? This is a really interesting one actually. I think it's just because of being in different situations and me personally freaking out about them, and everybody else being so calm about like the most normal things. Like I could, like I say, feel anxious about staying away for a night, and my friends would literally be having sleepovers every night, and I honestly couldn't think of anything worse at the time because I knew it would just freak me out. So I think you kind of know when, yeah, you're freaking out about irrational things that other people just take as like something in their everyday life. Also, there is the physical side of it where it's loss of breath or having like a heavy chest, nausea, like all of those things. There are so many kind of indicators towards anxiety that I think you just know when you know. And I don't think anybody should be scared to think or admit that they've got it, because there are so many ways you can deal with it. Like there are so many ways you can deal with it. It's never ever going to harm you. The actual anxiety itself is just, it's all mental games, like it's all a mental battle. And also don't ever think that you can't fully recover from it, because I personally think you can. I think every single time you go through something that maybe tests you a bit mentally, I always feel like that is like a small win, and when you get over one thing you can get over the next thing. Do you feel pressured with your following to pretend to be happy all the time? I don't. I did a podcast recently with one of my old school friends, and they mentioned this. They were kind of saying like how a lot of people that do this job kind of put on a front or are kind of acting and pick up the camera when they're maybe not feeling like they want to, but I just do not put that pressure on myself because I love this. I don't only love what I do, and I'm so grateful that this is my job, like it still blows my mind every day, but I also know how toxic and how scary the internet can be. I block things, I delete things, I've blocked websites. Like there is a dark side to this. Obviously I don't think that's like news to anyone, and I struggle with that sometimes, but I've just chosen to basically be the bigger person and just not give in to any of this dark side of the internet. And I don't read anything, I don't see anything. Yeah, if you are one of those people out there that just feels the need to just hate on people when you literally don't even know them, then best believe it doesn't get to me, because I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't read it. So yeah, I think that is sometimes really difficult to deal with. As much as I don't read it now, and literally what you don't know can't hurt you, like that couldn't be more of a true statement. I honestly find it quite amusing that people spend their day doing things like that. What I don't find amusing is the effect that I see on other people that do this job. I think it's sickening, and I could talk about it for ages and I'm not going to. But yeah, do I feel pressured with my following to pretend to be happy? No, I don't, because I don't pick up the camera when I don't feel happy, or if I'm not in the right mindset to film, I won't. And not because I'm being lazy, not because I don't want to put a front on, just because I won't come across as me, and that terrifies me. Camera just cut out. But yeah, I know I'm just not going to come across as who I truly am, and I don't want to act. I don't want to just be like, hey guys, like everything's so fine, when it's not. Like, I'm a human being, we all go through the same things. So no, I personally don't feel the pressure, but I think you've got to not put that on yourself. Like, I understand how some people do, and I understand how people can easily fall into that, but no, long and short of it. Do you have a mindfulness / lifestyle book recommendations? I do. There is a book that I read that my dad's friend recommended to me, and it was amazing. It basically outlines like how your brain works, like scientifically how your brain works, how mental health works, how anxiety works. And I think the more you understand about it mentally, the more you can also rationalize it. Because for me, when I'm just thinking rationally and everything just seems like it's going crazy and everything's going wrong, when you then know how your brain physically works and like scientifically works, you can pick it apart, and you can kind of think, oh, I feel this way, or I feel sick because of this, and this chemical is being released, and I feel this way because I'm hormonal right now. Like, there are so many aspects to why you might be feeling a certain way. I can't remember the name of the book. I'm going to leave a picture on screen. I would highly recommend reading this book. I actually didn't read it fully. I don't think I've ever finished it, but I did basically pick it up when I felt like I was getting anxious, or like I was potentially going to have a panic attack. That is when I would actually read this book. So I guess that is another coping mechanism that I completely forgot about until this question reminded me. But 100%, that book helped me so much to just understand what was really going on from a scientific point of view and from a very rational point of view. So that is one book. But I also know that there are so many books out there specifically about lifestyle. Like, there's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I think The Secret is another one, but I want to say that's more kind of to do with manifesting and that kind of lifestyle. But I will try and find some online. I am not a big reader at all, so I don't want to kind of give you false information, but that one book that I do have, I do highly recommend. But yeah, the others I'm not entirely sure about. I've just heard other people rave about them, so I will try and link some, but like I say, I'm just not a reader myself. When I was younger, I knew I had mental health due to bullying, which caused an eating disorder. At 19, I went to my parents and said about mental health. They called me a snowflake, as young people are quick to say about mental health. I've learned how to deal with it okay, but could you answer what to do in that situation, as it may help other people? That breaks my heart. I kind of want to just generalize it in the sense of, if there is anyone in your life that you have gone to, like I say, there is such a line between tough love and just completely dismissing someone's struggles and someone's mental health. Like, if someone had a broken arm, you can see it and you can see that they're unwell. But if someone has mental health issues, I think because people can't physically see that, some people just dismiss it as a thing, and it is most definitely a thing. I think the people that are quick to dismiss things have never ever experienced it in their life, and that is something I kind of like to take into consideration when somebody is a bit like maybe cold-hearted, or you feel like they're just not really understanding you or don't really want to give you the time of day. I do like to give them the benefit of the doubt and kind of see the good in people and just think they've never experienced it, they don't know what it's like to go through, and when or if they do, that is when they will soon be apologising to you and realise that it is very tough. But I think you've got to turn to other people. Like, it's really hard to say because I'm like, that's your parents. Like, my parents are the one or the two people in my life that, and my brother, like anyone in my immediate family, obviously I'm Brad, but I know that they are going to be with me for life, and like they will never ever judge me on anything I say, like ever. Let alone tell me to my face. So I just really struggle with the fact that you've had to deal with this. But yeah, I'd say turn to friends, turn to maybe other family members, and I think the stronger you get, the more you can explain to your parents, like in the long run, how that really did make you feel. And I really hope that one day they get it, because that is horrible. I mean, like I said, my parents would never ever say anything like that to me. That is insane. I think also we've got to remember that our parents kind of did, I don't like to use this as an excuse, but they did grow up in a different time. Everything in our parents' generation was very, very different. Like, nothing like this was spoken about, which, like I say, doesn't mean that it's a right view, but I do think it's harder for them to get their head around because it just was not a thing back then. It was a thing, but people didn't openly talk about it like we do now. So yeah, turn to other ways and means of kind of dealing with things. Even, like I say, watching videos like this, I find that they really help me if I'm not in the mood to talk to someone. But if you really feel like you can't speak to specific people, then there will be somebody else you can talk to. Struggling on how to even begin the conversation about anxiety with a GP. Never feel like that. Oh my god, I go into every doctor's appointment, whether it's about like anxiety, whether it's about something else, I've always just thought they've seen so much worse than what I'm about to tell them or what I'm about to show them. I think the stigma around like GPs and doctors and stuff needs to just be lost. Like, they are there to do one specific job. They're there to help you, especially with anxiety. Oh my god, don't ever feel like going to speak to a GP about your mental health. It doesn't have to be a big thing at all. It's so normal. They've heard it all before. They've heard worse than what you're going to tell them. Do it. Like, it will literally change your life. If you are thinking about speaking to a GP or anyone about kind of getting help or something, just do it. Like, there is no stigma around it from their side. It's all just in your head. Like I say, they have heard so much worse. So much worse. So don't worry about it. Please go and speak to them. How's your mental health going to be over lockdown? Mine will be good. I am already feeling good. We're about a week in now. I'm really trying to not kind of talk about lockdown and COVID, I've said it, on my channel, because I don't want it to be a space where we talk about this. We all know what we need to do. We all know it's a thing, and I want you guys to be able to escape when you come here. But obviously, when I'm speaking about mental health, I think it's so apparent right now, literally because of one thing, which is lockdown. So I can't avoid it in this conversation. But yeah, I feel good. I'm really keeping positive. I'm keeping busy. My job, I'm very lucky with. I'm very grateful that I can still work, I can still earn. It just means that I can't see my family, which obviously I'm struggling with that side of things. But everyone is in the same boat right now, so I'm just focusing on the fact that we're all literally in this together. Like, no one is singled out. Everyone is having to do the same thing. I'm not missing out on anything, and I'm just really taking it as time to better myself, I guess. Like, make myself feel good, get myself into a good routine in the mornings. I do want to start getting back into exercise, because that is a massive positive impact on mental health. Like, I'm the laziest person ever, and when I exercise, oh my god, it helps so much. I hear so many people rave about it, and it just couldn't be more true. Again, Megan did say in her video, one thing she did say specifically about lockdown, which I 100% agree with, is that she doesn't want lockdown to take another 4 weeks away from her. So she's seeing it as like she's been given 4 weeks to do whatever she wants and better herself and build herself up in so many different ways, which I think that's great. Like, I think that's such a good way of looking at it, and it's so true. But also, she did say about exercise, and she said, like, you will never come back from a walk and go, oh my god, I'm so upset that I did that. Like, you always feel so much better for like getting outside and exercising and just moving your body. So yeah, I'm gonna try and focus on that in this lockdown, but otherwise I feel good. I'm just really focusing on the fact that I'm lucky that I'm able to stay home. I'm lucky that I've got food in the fridge. I'm lucky I've got a roof over my head. Yeah, we're all lucky that we have a bed to sleep in every night, and we do have the option to just stay inside, keep ourselves safe. What's one thing Brad does that helps when you are sad or anxious? I feel very lucky to have Brad as my partner, for so many reasons, but most of all for the way that he has dealt with my anxiety, my mental health over these years. He has been the biggest support, but also the biggest push to like push me out of my comfort zone and make me do things that I probably, when I met him, thought I would never ever do. And bearing in mind I was 16 when I met him, and that was when I was probably struggling with like the most irrational kind of anxieties, like about staying away from home and just little things like that. And he really pushed me out of my comfort zone. He has always been this happy-go-lucky guy that just gets on with things. Like, his mind doesn't work the way mine does. Thinks about something for 5 minutes and then that's it. Compartmentalize if he needs to, or he just won't think about it again. And I would love to have that brain. That would be amazing. But it doesn't mean that obviously he has certain days where he doesn't feel as great, and we support each other in that. But yeah, in terms of the way he's dealt with me personally, I talk at him for a very long time, especially if I am feeling a bit funny, and he just listens. He gives the best advice. He listens to everything I say. He doesn't question anything I say. I think especially because he knows that he doesn't really understand it. He doesn't know what it feels like to feel the way I do sometimes. So I just really appreciate that he doesn't kind of question me and make me try and think. He makes me think differently, like as in he tries to change my outlook on things and make me see a situation differently to how it is, i.e. rationally. But at the same time, he's not kind of like, oh, you're silly for thinking that, or why would you think like that, or why would you do this, or what. are you doing this for? Like, he doesn't question me in that sense. I really hope that makes sense. But yeah, he just listens, he distracts me. We'll do things like cook dinner together or watch a film together. He's just been great. I could rave about him all day, but that is not what this video is for. But yeah, just listening is probably like the biggest and best thing that he does. How do you get yourself out of a rut and get motivated / excited about life again? Again, I think I focus on what I'm grateful for, and I think nowadays online it is so easy to compare yourself, but in the sense of like the way you live your life or the things you're doing in your life, I think it is a lot easier to compare what you're doing. Like, especially when you get to your 20s, it's such a weird age because some people are getting married, some people have had kids, some people have bought houses, some people are still at uni, some people are renting. Like, everyone is doing such a different thing, and I think sometimes you question yourself on whether you're doing the right thing just because of what other people are doing, which I don't know, like, even saying that out loud, you shouldn't do that. But I definitely have in the past experienced things where I'm like, oh my god, this person's like traveling the world and doing all these amazing things, and what am I doing? Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And that is where I think you can kind of get a bit demotivated with your life because you think you should be doing more almost. I don't know if I'm just reading this question wrong, but most of the time I find that if I feel a little bit demotivated with life or a little bit kind of off, that is what I find myself doing. I kind of have seen somebody else doing something else and I'm like, oh my god, like, what am I doing with my life? But then when you strip it back and you realize what you are doing with your life, I'm sure that you are doing so many amazing things. I'm sure that after all of this is over, you are going to go on to do amazing things. You probably have great things planned, so many things to look forward to, and we've all got to focus on that. Like, even though so and so might be doing something amazing, they might also be jealous of the fact that you've done something else amazing. So it's kind of a little bit of give and take, and everybody's got the things that they love about their life, they would love about somebody else's life. But just remember that it literally goes on and on forever, that person is also looking at somebody else thinking that no one's ever happy with what we have right now. And I think you do have to strip it back sometimes and think, oh my god, like, this is what I've done. Like, pat yourself on the back sometimes and think, this is everything I've achieved, and feel good about it. But to get yourself out of a rut, I definitely would say plan things. Like, even if it's just writing a list of things that you might think are a little bit unachievable right now, one day you'll get around to doing them and you'll feel great about doing them. But if you write down like your goals and what you do want to achieve, plan some trips, plan whatever you fancy doing, then that will give you something to look forward to. And that for me is a massive motivation to kind of think positive again and love my life. What would you do if you stress and your muscles get tense and you get headaches? This is another thing where I feel like meditating would be the answer, because it really does make you like calm down. It makes you drop your shoulders, it makes you de-stress, and it literally forces you to do that in a situation. So I would, one, say that. Two, I would say get a massage. I know it sounds like such a kind of bougie thing to do, but they really help. Like, I think they are so good for your body, they're so good for your mind. It makes you completely switch off and focus on something else for like an hour and a half. And I want to incorporate more massages into my life, I've decided. I really don't think there's ever going to be a negative impact of having a little spa break and having a treatment here and there. Yeah, I think it's so good for you. So one, meditate. Two, massage. Even if it's getting your partner to massage your back or getting your friend to do it when you go and see them. Like, I don't know, I just think, like I say, it distracts your mind but also does make you feel good, like physically. Someone else said, how to deal with comparing yourself, your home and your life to others on social media. I feel like I've just touched on that, but yeah, just remember that especially on social media, people put the best out there. So as much as something might be really good in someone's life, they might literally be going through hell and back behind the screen and behind the picture that they've just posted on Instagram. So as much as you might want that part of their life, you probably won't want what is going on behind closed doors, but you can't have that without having that, if that makes sense. So yeah, everyone has their struggles, everyone has their great points as well, but yeah, you can't have one without the other. So don't ever feel like you want someone's life by just judging it on what you see on social media and the things that they choose to put out, because they're never going to put out the worst situations and the worst things that they're going through. I'm stuck in a rut with having a job I hate, no good for my mental state, but also it pays quite well compared to other jobs I've seen. I really need the income. This makes me kind of sad because you have to enjoy your job. Like, it is such a big part of your life, and if you don't enjoy it, if you don't make friends at work and have people around you that you genuinely look forward to seeing every day, then oh my god, it's going to be such, like you say, it's going to be such a toll on your mental health. And it just depends if it's worth it to you. Like, I think if you're money driven and you, like you say, it pays well, so if that excites you more than enjoying your job day to day and you can kind of just get by and get on with it and not really think about things, then amazing, like go for it, and you'll get that money and you'll be absolutely fine and you'll enjoy that more than anything else. But I think if you're not so money driven and it is really taking a toll on you, then change it. Do something you love, even if it pays less. If you want to be happy over having money, then change it. How to overcome the feelings of anxiety that you can't explain or know the reason for. Oh my god, I know this feeling way too well. You know when you just feel off and someone's like, are you okay? And you're like, no. And they're like, why? And I'm like, literally haven't got a clue. I just feel shit. I experience that a lot. I feel like a lot of us do. Someone very close to me is going through that right now and doesn't really know why they feel like that. And I think it's just remembering that that's okay. Like, if there's not a reason for the way you're feeling sometimes, then it can almost be a little bit more frustrating, and I totally get that, because I don't mind feeling upset if there's something to be upset about. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there is something that's really upset me, then great, let me feel those emotions. But if nothing has happened and I was happy as Larry 5 minutes ago and now I'm just feeling all types of anxious and down and not great, then why? What's the point? But I think you can almost switch it on its head and take that and be like, okay, well, nothing's happened. Like, literally nothing's happened. I don't need to be sad right now. So I'm obviously just having a moment and I'm gonna ride it out. I know I'm gonna feel differently after this. Feelings, like, no feeling in the world, whether it's a positive feeling or a negative feeling, lasts forever. No feeling. And that is one of the biggest ways that I dealt with being on holiday with the girls, because, like I said, I touched on this in my mukbang video, but going away with the most amazing group of girls in the summer was honestly one of the hardest things I've done in my life for a very, very long time. And everyone was kind of like, what was your biggest, like, how did you cope? What did you do? What was your biggest coping mechanism? And literally every single night I would sit there and I would start to freak out, and I would feel hot, I'd feel anxious, I'd feel like I'm going to be sick, I'd feel horrendous. But literally every time that happened, I just kept saying to myself in my head, this isn't going to last forever, this will pass. I know tomorrow morning I'm going to feel good again, I'm going to be back in the sun, I'm going to love my life. And it's just really focusing on the fact that it's just a feeling. Like, it will pass, it will blow over again, and you will feel good again. Like, whether it takes 5 minutes, whether it takes 2 hours, whether it takes 2 weeks, you will feel good again. Whether it takes a year, you will feel good again. And that good and positive part of your life is so, so worth riding out these tougher times and the tougher thoughts, whether or not you have a reason for them. But like I say, I think when you don't have a reason, I say that because I feel like sometimes that's a little bit rarer than having a reason to kind of feel anxious or down. But like I say, I do experience that as well. And yeah, I think when I don't have a reason, I'm like, oh my god, I'm really being silly here. Like, I don't have anything to be upset about. So let's try and flip it on its head. Let's just wake up, think I'm gonna have a positive day. If you think you're gonna have a positive day, if you look for the positive in it every single day, you will find it. If you look for the negative, you will find that. So really try and, like, I don't know, do things that make you happy. Get outside, go for a walk, watch something that makes you laugh. Like, laughing is the best medicine. Don't feel like you need to explain it to anyone, because I know that that can be really tough and almost a bit frustrating when someone's just like, well, what's happening? Like, tell me your thoughts. And I'm like, I literally don't know, I just don't feel good. Just take some time out, do some self-care, and like I say, switch it around a bit and think of it as a positive thing, that nothing negative is actually really happening, you're just having a bit of a moment. How do you talk to Brad about things? I feel like I just put a lot of things on my boyfriend. I touched on this in mine and George's video. I literally can't wait for our podcast to come out and, like, for us to actually be able to film it, because I feel like it's just going to be conversations like this, but between us two. Like, we love just sitting down and just chatting to you guys and just saying our thoughts and our feelings on things. Like, it's going to be completely uncensored as well. We both like to try and stay monetized on this platform, but when we come up with a podcast, I think we're probably not going to worry about that. So you'll probably see a different side to us and, like, hear a different side to us. But anyway, we can all look forward to that when we can actually film it. But yeah, anyway, I touched on this in a video that we did on her channel very recently. I will link it down below. It was just like a Wagamama's mukbang when I recently saw her, which was so nice and feels like a lifetime ago. But I did mention that sometimes I do struggle with the fact that, again, I feel the same way you do. I feel like most of the time I put a lot on Brad, and I don't ever want to do that, because as much as he's my boyfriend, he is literally like my biggest support system, because he's the closest person to me. But at the same time, he's not my counsellor, he's not my mental health mentor. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to become that. I don't want him to feel like that. As much as he's there for me, like, regardless, and he'd never say that he feels like this, but I like to try and work through a lot of my own kind of thoughts and emotions myself, mainly for myself as well, because it makes you stronger. Like, the more you get through things on your own, I think it also then helps you to get through, like, the next thing on your own. You don't necessarily have to, like, rely on people and feel like you need to talk it through with someone. Like, you can almost talk yourself through it. But yeah, I get you. Like, I completely understand what that feeling feels like, and not wanting to put so many things on your partner or your boyfriend. But at the same time, like, I'm sure your boyfriend probably feels the same. He probably doesn't feel like you put everything on him. He probably wants you to speak to him about things. I think remembering that they're not going to react to something the way that you maybe would. So for example, if you feel like you're the type of person where if someone kind of offloaded to you and gave you all of their stress and kind of vented to you, that might stress you out. But I'm sure, like, I know Brad wouldn't get stressed out if I spoke to him for 5 hours about how I'm feeling. So I'm sure your partner will probably be the same. Don't ever feel bad about it. Maybe just be really open and honest with them and say, hey, like, if this ever gets too much, please just tell me, like, and then we can work through things together, rather than it just being them kind of sitting there like, oh my god, this is so, like, you're telling me too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't ever want them to struggle with it as well. So yeah, just give them the option to tell you that they're kind of struggling with it, but I'm sure they won't be. Have you experienced nighttime anxiety? My anxiety is highest when I try to go to sleep. Yes. This is where most of my anxiety comes in, because you kind of lay down and you're like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm gonna go to bed, and then your head literally hits the pillow and bam, like, there's all the negative thoughts, there's all the irrational thoughts, there's the hot sweats coming in. Like, that is honestly the worst time, I swear, for anxiety. I don't really have the anxiety where I wake up in the morning and feel like off. I've not had that for a very long time, but yeah, most of the time if I am feeling a bit off, that is when it will hit me, as the nighttime. And it's because your brain is just finally settled and you've got nothing to occupy it, which every single night I go to sleep listening to something, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's a podcast. I will go to sleep listening to something because it keeps my brain occupied. It's not really even for me now, like I say, I'm kind of speaking from really past experience here, so I feel like I'm maybe missing a load of things and maybe not remembering what entirely it feels like to experience like the height of my anxiety, because it was a long time ago now, which I'm happy about, and I literally don't want it back. But yeah, now if I go to sleep without listening to something, I find that I just have a lot of nightmares. So I think, again, it's just where my head isn't, or my brain isn't stimulated, and it's not having something to focus on. My head just goes into like meltdown and just starts thinking all these weird things. So that's just the way my brain works. Again, it's something that is totally fine, and it's just something that I deal with. But I like to keep my brain stimulated, so put a podcast on. You don't need to wake up to turn it off or anything. Obviously some podcasts are like an hour long, so you could put it on. I'm sure you'd fall asleep in that time, and then it will switch itself off. But also on the Headspace app, I feel like I've spoken about it so much, but honestly I cannot recommend it enough. They do have, I think they're called sleep podcasts actually, and it's basically like mindfulness to help you fall asleep. It's like storytelling. They're quite random stories, but they're all about getting you to like imagine things, and they do breathing exercises before you fall asleep, and they're just great. They literally have me out like a light. Like, I switch one of them on and I'm dead to the world, like I'm gone. If you do lay down and you start to feel your head kind of go, don't just let it, like, nip it in the bud, switch something on, distract yourself, because I'm sure when you wake up in the morning you'll feel so differently. Okay, we have only just got through half of these questions, but I'm fully aware that I've been filming this for an hour, so I don't want this video to be crazy long. I might do another one of these. There are so many questions that I feel so bad that I've not got to. I'm just thinking if there's one last kind of quick one that we can go over. Oh, someone said, love that you speak so openly about this. Just think it's so important. Like, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really hope it's helped to kind of normalise the conversation, and if you aren't getting the information from someone else, then I hope I can kind of give you something that might help even just a little bit. Okay, I think I am going to leave it there. I'm going to save the questions for another video, so expect one of these soon. I'm probably just going to do it exactly the same, like super stripped back, and just sit down and have a chat with you guys. I've really enjoyed filming this. I chat a lot in my personal life, so why not chat to you guys more often? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all staying positive and staying safe. I hope all your families are well, everyone around you. I'm sure if I do film another one, I will ask for more questions. So if you have just found this video and you want to go and follow me on Instagram, if you want to ask some more questions in the future, then I will leave my tag on screen. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always. I will speak to you all very soon in my next one. Bye guys.